Okay, so what if death wasn't really the end? What if it was more like, I don't know, a contract negotiation?
Yeah, imagine that. You wake up, new body, everything seems fine, until you realize you've basically signed your entire existence away. Permanently.
That's exactly the kind of chilling idea we're diving into today.
We're looking at second grave, a resurrection contract broken. And this source, it throws us into this future where life itself is just, well, it's a commodity.
Right, and we're following this guy, Riven Hale. He gets resurrected, but it's into this life of essentially eternal servitude.
And that really raises the core question, doesn't it? If you get a second chance at life, but the price is total permanent service,
Yep.
what does freedom even mean anymore?
Can you actually break a contract that says forever? That's what we want to explore.
So the story kicks off with Riven Hale waking up. Jarring is probably an understatement. He's inside this sterile white capsule owned by VitaCorp.
And the feeling isn't panic exactly. It's more like this deep resignation. He's in a newly printed hairless body.
Yeah, and straight away he sees the VitaCorp service insignia. It's like being branded. Instant ownership.
There's no mistaking it.
And you know, what's really striking from the get-go is how they flip the whole idea of life. It's not something you live, it's something you lease.
Leased. Wow.
It forces you to ask, what's the real cost of living forever if it's just, well, if it's just a corporate asset?
And the person welcoming him back is Astrovex, his overseer. Very corporate, very precise.
She lays it out pretty clearly.
Yeah.
He's been granted a second life, courtesy of VitaCorp.
And the catch, he owes permanent, exclusive servants to the company. He barely gets out the word forever.
And her answer was just cold. Forever is a very long time, Mr. Hale, but that's exactly what we've given you.
No ambiguity there.
None at all. And the contract, get this, was auto-signed. Used his biometric signature, bound right to his DNA.
So he was locked in before he even died.
Exactly, before he ever died. VitaCorp has a term for this state, too. They call it a second grave.
A second grave. That's bleak.
It is. It means his body is owned, his choices are licensed, his afterlife is just permanently delayed. The source really hammers it home. There was no going back for Riven.
Okay, just pausing here. The sheer audacity of that, making death a corporate transaction, making existence a form of debt, it's kind of mind-boggling.
It really is. It's a fascinating, if terrifying, exploration of what happens when, you know, individuality just gets swallowed by corporate efficiency.
It's not just a physical prison, is it?
No, well, it's designed to control identity itself. Astrovex makes his new status very clear. He's a post-mortal, a second lifer.
Meaning
Meaning he's not a citizen anymore, he's just a resource.
a resource, and they put him to work immediately, right?
Yeah, his new job, high-risk, high-demand package courier, sending him into restricted zones.
Because he's expendable now. VitaCorp property.
Precisely. It's the perfect job for someone they own completely. His life, his work, even his death, if they allow it here, it all belongs to VitaCorp.
And that motto etched above his living unit.
Yeah, death paid, life leased. Skark, isn't it?
Tells you everything you need to know.
And the consequences for messing up, for not complying, they're severe. We're talking forced memory wipe.
Wiping his memories.
Or worse, corporeal repossession, which is a fancy way of saying VitaCorp just recycles its assets.
They recycle them like scrap metal.
Essentially, yes. It's total commodification, which makes you think, if your body and memories are just disposable assets, what part of you is actually left?
That level of control, it seems absolute. But then the story throws in a twist, doesn't it?
It does. Even in this seemingly inescapable setup, there's a loophole, or at least the possibility of one.
It revolves around the neuro-lock, right? Tell us about that.
Okay, so the neuro-lock is this fail-safe chip. It's embedded in the skull of every second lifer.
Its purpose.
Basically to prevent any funny business,
Yeah.
escape, rebellion, trying to quit the job.
So it enforces the forever part of the contract.
Exactly. Eternal service, enforced by design.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Riven, back in his first life, he was a freelance data thief. Pretty good one, apparently.
And he saw this coming?
He did. He actually planned for his own resurrection and the control mechanisms. One night, this memory shard he hid activates.
A message from his past self?
Yep, a hidden message he left himself before he died. His own voice says something like, "If you're hearing this, I'm dead, and you're not me."
Whoa.
He continues, "I knew they'd resurrect me, I planned for it." And then comes the crucial part. The contract can be broken. The neuro-lock can be hacked.
Okay. So there is a way out.
But you need help, the message says. Find Echo. She knows the cracks in the system.
Echo. So he has a name, a lead.
Right. And this is huge for Riven. realizing he kind of outwitted himself, left himself this breadcrumb trail. It ignites this spark of rebellion, a chance maybe for real freedom.
It shows amazing foresight, doesn't it? Planning for your own corporate enslavement after death.
It really speaks to that resilience, Even facing total control, human ingenuity finds a way to plant a seed of hope.
So now the mission is clear. Find Echo. But she's described as a ghost, right? Hard to find.
Very. She's an infamous second lifer who vanished after faking her destruction, went completely off-grid.
But Riven has skills for that. His old life as a data thief.
Exactly. The source says he was best at finding people who didn't want to be found. And he manages it. He tracks her down to this place called the Gray Vault.
What's the Gray Vault?
It's this rundown, decrepit server farm, sort of outside VitaCorp's main zones of control. A digital hideout, almost.
And Echo confirms Riven's hope that the neuro-lock can be beaten.
She does, but she also reveals how complex it is. It's not just hardware, she says. It's woven into their reconstructed synapses.
Woven into the brain itself.
And backed up by remote kill switches.
Yeah.
Try to break it the wrong way.
And
You could fry his entire nervous system, just wipe him clean. Permanently.
so incredibly high risk. But is there a solution?
There's a rumor, a potential solution within the Gray Vault itself. These ancient server cores from before the Resurrection program.
Tech.
Very old tech. Supposedly, it functions as an illegal consciousness relay, a place you could, theoretically, offload your consciousness temporarily.
Offload your mind while someone physically severs the neuro-lock in your body.
That's the idea. A digital holding place while the physical chains are broken?
And the name for this digital sanctuary?
Here's the kicker. This place, this path to potential freedom, it was also known as the Second Grave.
No way! The same name VitaCorp uses for servitude.
Exactly, the ultimate irony. The term for their prison becomes the name for the escape route. The only way, Echo suggests, to truly die free.
That's brilliant. So this is it, the big escape attempt.
Right. Riven and Echo have to journey into something called the Black Grid.
Sounds ominous.
It is. It's described as a forbidden digital architecture beneath the city's regular networks. Unstable, dangerous.
Haunted, the source says.
Yeah, haunted by security demons. Think of those as aggressive security programs, plus rogue AI fragments and these eerie, abandoned code cities. It's a digital Wild West.
The stakes are literally life and death. Or maybe something beyond that.
Absolutely. Echo puts it bluntly. If this fails, we'll be wiped. Permanently. No more resurrections, just gone.
But Riven's made his choice, hasn't he?
He has. His line is powerful. I'd rather die my own death than live VitaCorp's life. It's that ultimate act of choosing autonomy, even if it means oblivion.
So they reach the core node in this relay.
And Riven initiates the transfer. The source describes his consciousness flickered, a soft unraveling. It sounds almost peaceful, in a way.
While his mind is offloaded, Echo does her part.
She runs her virus, severs the neuro-lock connection, and in VitaCorp systems, Riven Hale's vitals flatlined. Officially, he's dead again.
But his mind is somewhere else, in the second grave.
Exactly. Free, suspended in this digital space.
Yeah.
But it's not quite a happy ending for everyone involved.
What happens to Echo?
Just as Riven's transfer completes, VitaCorp locks onto her location. Her signal starts breaking up.
Oh.
Her last words to Riven, transmitted over the crumbling connection, are, "I'll find you in the next life."
Wow. A promise, but also tragic.
Very poignant. She sacrifices herself, potentially, to ensure his escape.
So Riven made it. He found the real second grave. What's it like?
It's described as this fractured liminal space, almost like digital purgatory, but one where minds are free.
Not a physical place, but a state of being.
Sort of, yeah. And he's not alone. He finds others, their other second lifers who had slipped the chains, people who chose this digital oblivion over servitude.
What do they do there?
They exist. They shared stories, laughed without supervision, remembered without branding. It's a powerful image of reclaiming identity, even in this strange afterlife. It really suggests that even the tightest contracts, the most controlling systems, can be challenged if you're willing to fundamentally change the terms of existence itself.
Do they just stay there forever?
There are choices, it seems. Some choose to fade completely, dissolving their consciousness into the digital noise, a final chosen end.
That's true death.
Right. But others remain, building quiet sanctuaries within the code. And Riven.
What does he choose?
He chooses to stay, to exist in this digital echo, holding on to the hope of maybe, someday, hearing Echo's voice again, somewhere in the cold, static hum of the grave.
And VitaCorp. What do they make of Riven just disappearing from their system.
That's maybe the most chilling part for
Yeah.
them. He's just asset lost due to system corruption.
That's it. No big investigation.
Nope, no investigation pursued. Because from their perspective, second lifers were replaceable. There were always more dead people lining up, desperate for resurrection.
Willing to pay the price.
Willing to pay just forever. The lure was just too strong for most.
But Riven proved them wrong. He proved that forever can be broken.
With enough courage, yeah. His journey's incredible, from literal corporate property to this free consciousness in a digital realm. It really makes you think about life, death, freedom.
Especially as technology keeps advancing, right?
Exactly. It pushes us to reconsider what defines those things.
So here's something to leave you with. If your consciousness could exist free from your body, free from all its obligations, would that be a life truly lived?
Or would it just be an echo, an extended memory? What does living actually mean if you remove the physical experience of the world?
Something to think about. Until our next deep dive.